Okay, welcome to the Pompey Scrapbook. So, something new that me and TC are doing. A historical look at some Pompey matches, if you like. So, when you get to a certain age of watching Pompey, like me and Tony are, we seem to spend a lot more time talking about old matches we've seen than the newer stuff. So, we thought it might make for some good content. So, let's see how we go. We'll have some different types of videos. So this video is going to be a head-to-head video, so looking at games against a particular team. We've got some particular seasons we want to have a look at. We want to look at some cup runs and anything else that people want to see. By all means, get involved, get in the comments, tell us what you'd like to see us do a video about, and we'll see what content and what memories we can pull together. So, Tony, would you like to tell the good folks a little bit about yourself?
I will indeed. Cheers, Glenn. My name's Tony Cook. Been a supporter basically all my life. 54 years now I've been watching Pompey.
We don't look up Tony.
I feel it. There was no choice about it. It's a family thing. My dad went to the 1939 Cup final. His dad before him went to games. All my older brothers all went, so I was just dragged along, and that was it really. And never regretted a minute of it.
When was your first game?
1969. Preston North End, we won 4-0. And I thought every game was going to be nice and easy like that. How wrong can you be?
A bit more memorable than my first game then. So my first game was 78, I believe.
1978, yeah. When we finally took you along.
Yeah, Hereford at home, and you took me. So you're responsible for my Pompey affliction. 1-0 win. Peter Denyer scored the goal, I seem to remember. What was probably more memorable than my first game is after that we went on a bit of a run, and every home game I went to for like the first 4 or 5 games we won. So yeah, more memorable than the first match. So I think we've probably got getting on for a couple of thousand games between us. More in your favour than mine, but yeah.
Well, I know I've been to about, I think, somewhere near 1,300. So
okay, and we were guessing the other day that mine was probably about half of that. So
yeah.
Cool. Okay, so today's video, we are going to take a little walk down memory lane and talk about matches, some notable matches against Oxford. So here are our headlines for today's video. So I think we've been pretty fair here because we've got a draw, but what we'll class as a defeat and a win. So that seems pretty fair. What are your thoughts on Oxford, Tony, as an opponent?
Well, as I said, 54 years I've been going. I think Oxford is probably the team that we've played the most in that time. I haven't checked it up. The other one would be Charlton. That would be very close. We just always seem to be in the same division as those two teams. Oxford is the only team I think I've seen that we've played in all 4 divisions. We played them in the old Division 1 back in the 80s, and we played them many, many times in Division 2, the old Division 3, and in Division 4 or League 2, as it's now become. They just always seem to be there. We've won promotion with them. We've got relegated with them.
Yeah,
there's a lot between us and Oxford.
Yeah, similar. I just seem to feel that we've always bounced around similar divisions to them a lot of the time. So, yeah, I'll reference this website a few times during our videos. So Pompey Rama, if Pompey fans don't know about it, it's a great website. It's got every match in our history, and I believe you can log in and tick which matches you've watched, can't you, Tony?
You can indeed, yes. I have done that. It took a while to go through and tick each match. But yeah, it is an excellent website. Gives you all the details, names the scorers. I believe it lists every team for every game that we've played.
Yeah, it's got the lineup. So it's got some good features. So it's got head-to-head. So what I'm looking at on this page is the head-to-head against Oxford. This is a good place to start, and you can go season by season, look a player up. Like I say, brilliant resource to look at. So our head-to-head against Oxford then, according to this, we've played them 75 times, won 29, lost 23, drawn 23. So we're pretty even, but we've got a slight edge on them. But interestingly enough, in the head-to-head, it doesn't actually list the COVID playoff games in there, so maybe it's not quite right. So that's our head-to-head against Oxford. So I always view them as, like I say, similar to us. Strikes me as I don't think they're a particularly lucky team for us to play against. But we've probably had more success than them. I think they've had a short spell in the top flight, and I think they won the League Cup.
They did win the League Cup in 1986. Beat QPR.
So I think that's probably when they were in the top flight as well. Then.
Yeah, but they had a really good team around that time. Don't forget they had players like John Aldridge playing for them. So they were a very good side at the time.
Okay, so let's move on to our first game then. So we have got a 10-goal thriller to start with. This is going to be whistle-stop stuff. We're basically going to get the goals. So this was 1992, from the 92-93 season. So if we wind up the old TV, and let's have a watch. We won't go with the commentary, but we'll guide you through. So that was Alan McLaughlin out to Paul Walsh. And believe it or not, that header was Alan McLaughlin.
That was Macca with a most un-Macca-like goal.
Yeah, he was a bit of a tap-in merchant.
But this one is very much a Whittingham goal.
Yes, Guy Whittingham from 7 yards. 2-0. 3-0. So.
And a classic own goal.
An own goal. So 3-0 up.
3-0, surely the game's won.
Yeah, all over.
This is Pompey though, isn't it?
So 3-1. Is it going to fall apart?
No, because who's there again?
Again, Guy Whittingham from 7 yards with a scuffer off the defender. 4-1.
And this is still the first half. Jim Magilton. Now, who did he play for as well?
Scummer. So we 4-2, getting nervous.
Into the second half now.
Oh, it's a smart finish by Chamberlain. 5-2. Who could?
Now we're down to about 15 minutes left, and that's John Durnin scoring there.
So he joined Pompey the season after.
The following season, yeah, became a bit of a Pompey legend.
That was a penalty. Who was for number 14?
Stuart Doling, who'd only just come on as a sub, I believe.
Oh.
First thing he did was give a penalty away. And now we're deep in injury time.
Oh.
Leave it.
Yeah. Wow.
It's Pompey, so yes, you would believe it.
Yeah. 5-2 to that.
Well, the amazing thing about the game is that we actually led by 3 goals on 3 separate occasions. We were 3-0, 4-1 and 5-2 in the lead.
Only Pompey, eh?
Yes, sir. And as we all know, we missed out promotion that season to West Ham on goal difference. So we could have just hung on. Even 5-4 there would have been enough.
Yeah. Ifs, buts and maybes. We did go like 12 games unbeaten late in that season, so who knows what would have happened. But
when it gets down to that sort of closeness, you always think back to one goal here or there would have made all the difference. And never mind, it wasn't
the odd 3 goals here or there against Oxford.
Yeah. 5-2 up with 10 minutes to go or whatever it was.
Yeah, so that was the 92-93 season. As you've alluded to, we just missed out on promotion. That will be our next video. So next week we'll come back and do another video. So I haven't said it yet, but please, the fact you're here watching, please do like the video, click subscribe, and you'll get an alert when we come back and make another video. So hopefully this will be a weekly event. But yeah, next week's episode will be the 92-93 season, with a focus on the large number of goals scored by Mr. Guy Whittingham. So
It's just
go on, Tony.
just the 47 goals.
Just the 47
And
goals.
And we saw 2 of them there, so hopefully we won't have to see that game again next week.
Yeah, so moving on. We're going to go for a defeat now. So, 2020, the year that was, COVID arrived, and Pompey were in the playoffs. This is all very, very weird, isn't it?
It was a strange season, wasn't it? Because the season finished early in March. There was doubt about whether the season was ever going to finish. Eventually, after a couple of months, they decided that the league table would be made up on some points per game ratio.
So that's the finishing league
there,
table.
yeah.
Coventry and Rotherham up. Wycombe less points than the other teams, but they'd played a game less, so they got some points per game or whatever they did, and put Wycombe third,
Yeah.
which left us playing Oxford. And the unfortunate thing for us, if you look at the green blobs there, Oxford had won 5 games in a row before that. So we yet again stumble into the playoffs and play the form team. Yeah, but it's just
It was a strange one because the 2 playoff games were played in the first week of July, and it was quite a warm or quite a hot summer. Pompey's central midfielder at that time was Tom Naylor, and for reasons better known to the manager Kenny Jackie, decided to leave him out of the 2 playoff games. It was an odd decision, shall we say?
it is a very strange thing to look back on, because putting it into context, Pompey in the playoffs, or Pompey at the end of the season, would be, in our lives, would be absolutely massive. But when I look back on this, I'm not sure I cared. Obviously, I did care. I watched it and I wanted us to win. It just all didn't feel real, did it?
It didn't. This and then the following season, when spectators were still not able to go to games, none of it seemed real. You watched it because it was there, and you wanted Pompey to win, which you always do. But as you said, it just didn't seem. It just seemed like a load of pre-season friendlies.
Yeah, watching games
Yeah.
like this and the virtual Grand National.
Yeah.
Okay, better get this over with then. So, the game at Fratton Park then. So, let's have a very quick look at this. So, flags at one end of the ground is Mr. Curtis. So, at the other end, there's pictures of fans stuck on chairs. I think Osama bin Laden was famously on one of the chairs watching, wasn't he?
Here comes Ronan Curtis cutting in, and somehow it squeezes in.
Yeah, I don't know how he squeezed that in. I'm guessing if you're the keeper, you're probably not going to be very happy about that one. So that was the home game. He scored. Brown went down the other end, scored for Oxford, I believe. So 1-1 in the first leg. On to the second leg then at Oxford. There's Mr. Brown.
Again, as we can see, bright, sunny. If I remember rightly, it was an early evening kickoff.
So, yeah, the sun looks pretty low. So Marcus Harness gets Pompey's goal. Again, I'm not sure how the keepers managed to let that in. And this, apparently, was the equaliser. The ref's watch says it was. So,
And it was an Ellis Harrison own goal.
yeah, well, I'm not surprised. He was an interesting player at Ellis Harrison. He always had something about him that he looked dangerous. He never seemed to deliver a lot, did he?
He did, and I think what fans liked about him was it was always 100% non-stop effort. But what actually came out of it was, yeah, not a lot at times.
Not prolific, should
And
we say?
he was dead. He was deadly if he went back to help the defence because that wasn't the only time he scored an own goal.
That's when he was. That's when he was clinical. Yeah.
I think it might be worth mentioning as well that there were actually some Pompey fans at Oxford that day.
Yes. Not quite in the ground though.
Not in the ground, no, but the well-known fan John Westwood and his little crew were outside on a flatbed truck with a cherry picker and some pallets. And anyone who knows the Oxford ground knows that one end there is nothing there apart from a wall. So they managed to get themselves up high enough to look over the wall and see into the ground.
Yeah, I think I remember when I watched the coverage hearing the bell. It's pretty much all
Yeah,
you could hear that day. So,
yeah.
okay, let's finish the pain off then. So we're into a penalty shootout with Oxford for promotion.
And we've got John Marquis up first for Pompey. Nicely taken.
Yeah. Again, another player who was not exactly prolific for Pompey, was he? He scored loads of goals for Doncaster. Who was that taken for Oxford? We don't care. That was Gareth
Gareth
Evans.
Evans.
Pompey.
Gareth Evans.
Another one for Oxford. Who's that? Don't care. Good penalty though.
Not Lee Brown, he's just going to whack it.
Yeah,
And he did.
Delicately done, Lee. Another Oxford penalty taker. Who is it? Don't care.
Now it's Cameron McGeehan.
On loan from Barnsley. That's the one that cost us. Another Oxford penalty taker. Who is it? Don't care.
Who's this? Hang on a minute.
Hang on.
Don't we know that guy?
Don't care. Hang on.
We know that guy.
John Massinio. So, yeah. So as we remember when we got. Go on, Sam.
Who would have guessed that day when he did that he would be our manager a few years later?
Yeah, so we got John Massinio in when he became our manager. He was a player coach, wasn't he, for Oxford? So he was still just about hanging in on his playing career, but back then he was playing and, yeah, knocked that penalty in. So let's see the penalty shootout to a conclusion. So Ollie Hawkins up for Pompey. I think we'll have a video soon with another Ollie Hawkins penalty in, I suspect. And this is the final penalty. So this is Brannigan. And that puts Oxford through to the final of the playoffs where they played Wycombe. And I think you probably would have expected Oxford to... Well, I probably would have expected Oxford to win that, but they didn't. Wycombe won and went up, didn't they?
It just shows what we were saying earlier, though, about not caring about it. It must have been really strange being in a playoff final at Wembley with nobody there.
Yeah.
And you have to feel a bit for Wycombe because they won it, went up to the Championship, the only season they've ever had at that level, and still no fans.
Yeah.
It was a very strange time for football.
Yeah, certainly was. But you know, well, we're careful not to stray into politics here, but football had a part to play in that because it was some of the big games that happened just before COVID, wasn't it? Didn't Liverpool have a big European game, and then
did, yeah.
That's when and then COVID exploded, didn't it, in the UK? But hey, that's another story.
As you said, we won't get into that.
No. Okay, so that's a draw and a defeat covered. Time for some.
Can we have a happier game now?
Time for some good news. So, an interesting one. This is called the Santa game. Why is it called the Santa game, Tony?
Well, it was a big game at the top of the table. It was just before Christmas, and the game was interrupted midway through the second half by the invasion of a Pompey fan wearing a full Santa suit. I'm not exactly sure what happened, whether he got led out of the ground or not, but it was 2 or 3 minutes, and it was in the time added on his invasion of the pitch that Pompey got the winning goal. Hence, the Santa game has gone down in Pompey folklore.
Yeah, I remember this game as well because we had a family wedding this day. So somehow you got away with leaving to go to the football, and I had to stay at the wedding celebrations. How does that work?
I don't know honestly, because it was my brother that got married, but me, my other brother Brian, and my dad all went to the football from the ceremony. Um,
Yeah.
we went. It was an odd occasion going to football in your suit, but we did. We got there just in time for kickoff, from what I remember,
And it
and
can't
then
be it can't be like I didn't go because I didn't have a ticket because I'm sure you probably just turned up and paid on the gate, didn't you?
I think we did. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, let's get into it then. So there's a lineup. So
What a not a bad looking side we had around then. This was quite an early part of Bawley's Pompey career as manager.
that would
Noel
have been
Blake there.
Gary Stanley, Yossa Tate at left back. Uh,
Yep.
that would have been Noel
Noel,
Blake.
Noel Blake and Malcolm Waldron in the middle, because Billy Gilbert would have been probably suspended.
Yeah, probably. Midfield of Dylan.
Dillon and Kennedy.
Bite your legs, Kennedy. And wide players were Hilaire and Neil Webb would have been playing wide. Went on,
Yeah.
of course, to play for England. And Nicky Morgan and Alan Bailey up front. So what
Yeah.
stuck out to me seeing the lineup is one substitute.
It was, yeah. And then when you look at the pitch and how heavy the pitch is here, and you've only got one sub, so
I'm not
it,
even sure they used him.
I don't think we did. It was Bobby Doyle was the sub, and I'm pretty sure he never even came on.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, if you know, to see the beautifully groomed Fratton Park pitch we play on these days, and then I mean this isn't even as bad as it gets. It gets as we get to the end of the match, it's even worse. It's like a ploughed field.
Yeah.
This pitch. Oh, this Jim Smith.
Yeah, the Eagle, and the pitch actually plays a big part in the outcome of the game at one stage.
Yeah.
There's Bailey going up.
Do you see the afters from Kennedy?
Yeah, I think there's another one in a minute. So there's Trevor Hebbard. He came on loan to Pompey later in his career.
Who else from this Oxford team then has played for Pompey?
Oh, there's one there, George Lawrence.
Yeah. He was a scummer as well, wasn't he?
Was, yeah.
Now this
Good
save,
save.
this
Good save.
I think this is a world class save. If this was
Yeah.
done by an England keeper in a World Cup, watch this save. So I don't know why.
You see it- you
I don't know what
see
Gary
it well.
Stanley's doing, but
That is a top save, isn't it?
barest of the fingertips gets it round the post.
Yeah.
Amazing save.
All it needed. That's all it needed.
So that was a good chance for them.
There's another one. Mick Kennedy heads off the line.
Yeah.
I think it comes back in, and another player who went on to play for Pompey here heads over. That's Malcolm Shotton.
Yeah. I just about remember him joining Pompey, I think. So that's
He wasn't
like three good
wasn't there very
chances.
long.
It's like three good chances they've had already this second half.
Yeah.
It was as this was shown on the telly. They didn't show the first half, did they? It just started from half time. So this goes to show how good the first half must have been.
Oh, Mick Tate.
That's a foul, referee. The pitch.
No, this is the build up to their goal, I think.
The pitch now is it's just hideous, isn't it?
This is their goal. Kevin Brock.
Yeah, I'm not sure Knightsy's going to be too happy with that one.
No,
And how he
it is
squeezed
near
that,
coast, I think, isn't it?
and how he squeezed that in for compared to some of the chances they've missed in this.
Yeah, yeah.
There we go.
Perhaps he got stuck in the mud. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Other thing I noticed: full fences at Fratton Park.
Yeah, there were sad times. Obviously, the hooliganism from the 70s into the early 80s, and we had fences all around the ground.
Yeah. What I can't fathom out is in the north stand over that side. There's a big like red fence down the middle of the terrace. You'll see it later when there's some celebrating. I didn't figure out why that was there because it was in the middle of the Pompey bit.
Yeah, I think at times they may have used that for a bit of extra segregation.
Mm.
I can't though ever think of a game when it was used, but I guess that's what it would have been for.
If I see it in a minute, I'll point it out. But yeah,
Oh, there's Kevin Dillon.
yeah, big bits of segregation. So down at the Oxford end, there's a big empty section of the Milton end. They really did have to be. It really was different in those days. Wasn't it, trying to keep fans apart?
Yeah.
Now in the Milton end, you just get a piece of cloth across some seats and
Oh, here we go.
oh
John Aldridge racing
yes,
through.
John Aldridge.
This is it. Gary Stanley. Look. Oh,
Splat.
thank God for the muddy pitch.
Yeah, so let's look at. I think there's a replay. Would this have gone in? I think it would have gone in.
I think it would have done. Look at the players just sliding all over the place, aren't they? Oh,
And
oh,
that wasn't great from Knight either. It went straight through his two hands.
oh! Mick Kennedy then.
I
Just a just a gentle challenge.
wonder how many times he got red carded for Pompey.
A couple of times, but probably not as many as it should have been.
I reckon I would, if you could transport this game to 2024, I think he would get a red card in this game.
Yeah.
Oh, that was Noel Blake trying to force it in. He was a great
Yeah,
second half for us.
by this time, Noel Blake had been moved up front and we were playing an extra striker, but this
Desperation.
must be getting quite close to the end now.
So, what minute do we score our first goal?
I believe it's 88 minutes, the first goal. We might be coming to the build up towards it now. Vince Hilaire, one of your favourites, Glenn?
Yeah. Battle of the favourites in this because I think at some point Vince Hilaire was my favourite player, but at some point Alan Biley was. So I think when this game was going on, probably Biley was my favourite player. And obviously once he
I
left,
think he was everybody's favourite player after this game.
yeah. Still the goal's not here.
I think Kennedy, no, there's a Kennedy challenge coming up again here, I think. Yeah, get over.
Martin Bodenham waves play on.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Here we go. Give it out to Webby. And there's the first one. Actually, the run, I hadn't noticed really, the run from Biley was quite intelligent because he was out quite close to Webb when Webb got the ball.
Yeah.
You see him sprint away.
You see it on the replay, I think, don't you? But one of the things was the fact that Blake was up there, Noel Blake was up there as an attacker, probably took the defence's mind away from looking at Biley. They were probably concentrating more on what Noel Blake was doing and almost allowed Biley to sneak in unnoticed.
We'll when we get to the winner,
You sit there, it's like cashing off.
yeah, sprinting away to the middle, yeah.
Yeah. And he's virtually unmarked as he nods it in.
And that's probably the only way he can head that ball that's going to be a goal from there.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, as we get to the winner, we'll shut up and we'll listen to some audio, Tony.
Yeah.
Jim Smith's not looking happy.
Jim Smith not looking happy.
Where's Harry?
How have we not won?
Where's Harry?
How have we not won this? How come we're only going to draw this game? He's thinking.
Yeah.
There's still an awful lot happens in this game in the last couple of minutes.
So the goal was 88, you said.
Yep.
So we're probably into injury
So
time. Oh,
ooh, is that a
VAR's
penalty?
VAR's having a look at that one.
George Lawrence lying on the floor.
I wonder what Jim Smith would be saying to the fourth official if there was one.
Yeah. He's still lying on the floor.
He wants to get up. There's some defending to do. Right. There you go. Out to
Here we
Big
go.
Flair.
Ooh. I'll give it a corner.
A corner it is.
All right, well, this is the commentary.
Time for it to be taken. And Bailey's poised again. Oh my word! They can hardly believe it. There's no way, surely, that Alan Bailey will be allowed to leave Portsmouth now.
Look at the little kid behind Alan Ball in a minute.
It was all too much for him.
So the commentator was talking about Bailey not being allowed to leave Pompey. There was talk, wasn't there, at the time, because I think Alan Bailey had, shall we say, made himself not universally popular in the dressing room.
Yeah. Oh, hang on a minute. The game's still going on here, and it's not all over yet.
I mean, what have they had? Like, oh, this is the bit of the crowd. Look, with the big segregation down the middle.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It is odd, isn't it? It's an odd place to put it, but I can only think that's what it was. But
because if that was packed with fans, that would hint. Was that Shotton?
oh look, they've hit the bar.
Was that Shot?
I think that was
Anyway,
Billy Hamilton. I think.
okay, but anyway, they hit the bar again. So they've had like 5 or 6 golden chances in this second half.
If you look back at this, you think, how the hell did we win this game?
Yeah, but amazing. And I think if you went through Pompey history, looking at like the most amazing individual moments or endings, this would be right up there. This would be in your top 10, I would have thought.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's the fact that it's nearly 40 years old now, and everybody is old enough to remember it. Still talks about it.
Yeah, amazing game.
It was an amazing game. Yeah.
So,
And at the end of the season, what happened? Oxford got promoted, and we didn't.
well, let's have a look. That's the table. Oxford finished top, no champions. We're in
They were
in 4th place behind Manchester City, obviously famously missing out on goal difference. That was the Huddersfield away day at the end of the season, where we won, and Man City beat Oldham.
No, Charlton
by about 1,000 goals to nil or something.
Yeah, 5-1, I think it actually was, but yeah.
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 So yeah, that was the end of that season. So there are our games against Oxford. So we had a 10-goal thriller, the COVID playoffs, and the Santa game. I think that's a pretty good selection of games to talk about.
I think it's a pretty good selection. There's a few others we could have picked in there, but I think we covered a pretty wide era there as well. We've gone right back to the 80s, and we come fairly well up to modern times. So
yeah,
that's a good selection.
So
there.
one other game to give a very brief mention to then. So what we've said with this with these videos is we're going to stick to historical stuff. There's some great Pompey vlogs out there that cover current games. So that's not our territory. But seeing the Pompey 2 Oxford 1 in front of us, I think that's probably just worth covering that as a recent memory. What were your memories of that one, Tony? Just a few weeks before this.
The one from a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
It was, again, Oxford were very unlucky, as they were in that 1984 game, to be honest. they played some really nice football that day, and we smashed it with a goal. What, Christian Sadie right at the, or not right at the end, but midway through the second half. It's Yeah, it's typical of the Pompey team at the moment, though, that they just win games when even when they're not playing well.
Yeah. I had to
Um,
rock for this. So this is our first video,
there-
and I had to rock
there's a,
this shirt. Would this have been 87, 88?
it was 87, 88, yeah.
And I had this shirt at the time, but this is the replica. But this is my lucky shirt this year. I have to make sure I wear this shirt and a certain hat every game, and it seems to be doing the trick. So
I try not to get into lucky shirts and things because that's sort of a
it's
one year it was I think it was the year we got promoted under Harry Redknapp. First game I wore an orange away kit that we had, and so I ended up wearing that until we actually lost a game.
yeah, it's a dangerous thing to get into. Isn't it?
Let's not get into lucky shirts.
So that brings us to the end of our video today. Then, so that's covered Oxford. As we said, next week we're going to look at the 92-93 season. We've got a few other ideas to bring along, haven't we, TC?
We have indeed, yeah. We've made a list of 6 or 7 at the moment, and
Yeah.
I'm sure once we put our heads together, we'll come up with quite a lengthy list. As long as people want to see it.
Yeah. So if you do want to see them, give us a like down below. Subscribe would be great. And if we'd love to hear comments from people about your memories of some of those games, or if you've got ideas of videos you'd like us to dredge some memories up for, we'd be pleased to read them, and we'll cover some comments in some future videos. So that's us signing off, Tony.
Okay, yeah, it's been good. Enjoyed it.
Cool. And we'll see you all next week.
Okay, cheers then.
See you.